Subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button. Click the bell button and enjoy the latest uploads.
अस्सलामुअलैकुम। अपनी नई वीडियो लेकर आपकी खिदमत में हाजिर हूँ। आपको मालूम है कि इंडिया और चाइना की फौजें डोकलम के मकाम पर आमने सामने खड़ी हैं। चाइना अपनी सरहद में सड़क बना रहा है जिसकी इंडिया को बहुत तकलीफ थी। चाइना का दावा है कि डोकलम चाइना का हिस्सा है। पहले तो इंडिया मानने को तैयार ही नहीं था, इसलिए इंडियन आर्मी बॉर्डर पर ले आया। लेकिन जब चाइना की जंगी मशकें देखी तो इंडिया की फौज को 3 माह के बाद औकात याद आ गई और वो पीछे हट गई, क्योंकि इन्हें पता था कि अगर चाइना से पंगा लिया तो इनका क्या हशर होने वाला है। लेकिन इनका मीडिया एक बार फिर झूठ बोलने में सबकत दे गया और अपनी आवाम को ये कहकर मामू बना डाला कि दोनों फौजें पीछे हट गई हैं। आइए देखते हैं इंडियन मीडिया इस बारे में क्या कह रहा है और किस तरह अपने अवाम को, अपनी पब्लिक को मामू बना रहा है।
आपको बता दें कि डोकलाम सीमा पर चीन की ओर से जो कदम उठाया गया उसके बाद भारत लगातार इस मुद्दे पर अड़ा रहा कि वो अपनी सेना वापस बुला ले। इसके बीच हम ये भी बता दें आपको कि इस मुद्दे पर तनाव कम करने की कोशिश के तहत अब दोनों देशों ने अपनी अपनी सेनाओं को वापस बुलाने का फैसला लिया है। एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण फैसला है ये, क्योंकि अब सेनाओं की वापसी की प्रक्रिया भी शुरू हो गई है। हम जानते हैं कि लगातार डोकलाम के मुद्दे पर, यानी कि भारत, भूटान और चीन का जो तिराहा था जिस पर चीन सड़क बना रहा था जो कि उसका इलाका नहीं है, उस पर भारत ने जो सेना वहां पे, भारत के सैनिक जो वहां तैनात थे, चीन लगातार भारत पर इस बात को लेकर दबाव डालता रहा था कि भारत अपने सैनिकों को वहां से वापस बुलाए। लेकिन भारत इस रुख पर, अपने स्पष्ट रुख पर अड़ा रहा कि राजनयिक तरीके से समस्या का समाधान होना चाहिए। और आज एक महत्वपूर्ण खबर सामने आ रही है कि दोनों देशों ने अपनी अपनी सेनाओं को वापस बुलाने का निर्णय लिया। इस मुद्दे पर और बात करते हैं, हमारे संवाददाता सिद्धांत सिब्बल हमारे साथ जुड़ गए हैं। सिद्धांत, एक बहुत बड़ा कदम उठा सकते हैं ये, क्योंकि डोकलाम मुद्दा एक ऐसा मुद्दा है जो दोनों देशों के बीच के संबंधों को तनावग्रस्त कर रहा था। कितना महत्वपूर्ण है ये कदम जो अब सामने आया है कि दोनों देशों की सेनाएं वापस जा रही हैं?
ममता, मैं बता दूं, ये बहुत बड़ी खबर इस वक्त आ रही है और ये खबर अब आ रही है जब अगले हफ्ते ब्रिक्स समिट होने वाला है चाइना में। और जो अभी एमई की रिलीज आई, उस रिलीज के मुताबिक दोनों मुल्कों ने ये तैयारी कर ली है कि एक्सपीडिशियस डिसएंगेजमेंट जो शब्द यूज करा गया है बॉर्डर पर्सनल का, जो फेस ऑफ साइट है जो डोकलाम में, जहां पे दोनों मुल्कों की सेनाएं एक तरफ से फेस ऑफ हो रहा था, वहां से विड्रॉ करने का। और जो एमईए की जो स्टेटमेंट है, उस स्टेटमेंट में यही था कि कहीं ना कहीं डिप्लोमेटिक कम्युनिकेशन इस पूरे मसले पर हो रहा था। पिछले दो महीने से हम देख रहे थे सिचुएशन कितनी तनावपूर्ण बनी रही थी, पर भारत हमेशा ये कहता रहा था कि डिप्लोमेटिक कम्युनिकेशन ही तरीका है जिससे ये पूरा मसला सुलझाया जा सकता है। और वही हुआ। फाइनली आज एक पॉजिटिव न्यूज आई है और ये पॉजिटिव तब आ रही है जब अगले हफ्ते ब्रिक्स का जो बड़ा सम्मेलन होने वाला है चाइना में, उससे पहले ये खबर आ रही है। और डोकलाम का पूरा मैं मसला आपको बता दूं, डोकलाम एक एरिया है जो भूटान का पार्ट है और यहाँ पर चाइना ने करीब 2 महीने पहले क्या किया था, कोशिश की थी कि एक रोड बनाई जाए डोकलाम में, क्योंकि ये डोकलाम एरिया जो भूटान के अंडर आता है तो कहीं ना कहीं भूटान के लिए एक खतरा भी बन रहा था। तो भारतीय सेना वहां पे गई और वहां पे एक तरफ से स्टेटस को मेंटेन था और भारत का ये कहना था कि रोड बनाने की वजह से क्या होगा, जो पूरा स्टेटस को है वो पूरे रीजन का खतरे में आ सकते हैं। और दूसरा मैं आपको बता दूं, डोकलाम एरिया बहुत पास है चिकन नेक के पास। चिकन नेक वो एरिया है भारत का जो भारत मेनलैंड से जो नॉर्थ ईस्ट एरिया है उसे कनेक्ट करता है सिलीगुड़ी कॉरिडोर से। और कहीं ना कहीं भारत के लिए सिक्योरिटी कंसर्न भी क्रिएट हो रहा था। उसके बाद हमने देखा बहुत सारे कमेंट्स भी आ रहे थे चाइनीज मीडिया की तरफ से। और उसके बाद हमने देखा कि कैसे जो एनएसए हमारे वहां पे गए थे ब्रिक्स एनएसए मीट के लिए, वहां पे हमने एक रिलीज भी देखी थी चाइनीज गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, जहां पर ये था कि भारत और चीन ने जो बहुत सारे विवाद हैं उन पे डिस्कशन की थी। बस
इस वक्त की बड़ी खबर आपको बता दें, डोकलाम पर भारत की बहुत बड़ी जीत हुई है। खबर यह आ रही है कि चीन झुकने को तैयार हो गया है। डोकलाम से हटेगी भारत चीन की सेना। इस वक्त की बड़ी खबर आपको बता दें, डोकलाम पर भारत की बड़ी जीत है। जो जानकारी मिल रही है उसके मुताबिक गौरव सावंत हमारे साथ है। गौरव, पूरी खबर बताएं।
ये एक बहुत बड़ी खबर है। विदेश मंत्रालय ने अभी अभी इस बात का ऐलान किया है कि भारत और चीन दोनों की सेनाएं डोकलाम जो प्लाटो है वहां से हटेंगी। विदेश मंत्रालय का यह कहना है कि पिछले कुछ हफ्तों से भारत और चीन दोनों ही देश इस बारे में चर्चा कर रहे थे कि किस तरह से तनाव को कम करने की आवश्यकता है, और उसके बाद अभी यह निर्णय लिया गया है कि डोकलाम पे दोनों ही देशों की सेनाएं धीरे धीरे वहां से हट जाएंगी। लेकिन अभी ये डिटेल्स इसकी नहीं आई है निशांत कि पहले भारत की सेना हटेगी या पहले चीन की सेना हटेगी या किस तरह से इस तनाव को कम किया जाएगा। लेकिन भारत के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी के ब्रिक्स समिट के लिए चीन जाने से पहले ये एक बहुत अहम खबर है कि डोकलाम पर जो भारत और चीन के बीच विवाद है अब उसके खत्म होने के आसार नजर आ रहे हैं।
गौरव, एक बात बताइए, कितना भरोसा कर सकते हैं चीन पर? क्योंकि ये वही चीन है जिसकी तो थ्योरी है, जिसकी जो अपनी मुख्य किताबें वो कहती हैं टेक द एनिमी बाय सरप्राइज।
निश्चित तौर पर, लेकिन इस क्षेत्र में जैसा आप भी भली भांति जानते हैं कि भारत की सेना एक बहुत मजबूत स्थिति में है, और अगर चीन वहां पर दोबारा आने का प्रयास भी करेगा तो भारत को उससे पहले उसकी सूचना जरूर मिल जाएगी और उसके बाद वो कदम उठाए जा सकते हैं। लेकिन ये केवल दो देशों के बीच एक छोटे से डोकलाम प्लाटो पर विवाद का नहीं है। समस्या यहां यह है कि चीन की सेना डोकलाम में आ गई थी और हर रोज भारत को गीदड़ भभकी दी जा रही थी। भारत उस गीदड़ भभकी का उत्तर नहीं दे रहा था, लेकिन भारत ने यह जरूर साफ कर दिया था कि अगर विवादित स्थान है तो दोनों ही देशों की सेनाओं को वहां से हटने की आवश्यकता है। और अब सूत्र हमारे ये बता रहे हैं कि जो बैक चैनल पर बात चल रही थी वो ये थी कि चाहे भारत की सेना भले ही पहले हटे, लेकिन चीन को यह आश्वासन जरूर देना होगा कि वहां पर सड़क का निर्माण नहीं होगा। अभी विदेश मंत्रालय ने औपचारिक तौर पर इस बात का खुलासा तो नहीं किया है कि कौन से वो शर्तें हैं जो दोनों देशों ने मान ली हैं जिसके बाद यह विवाद खत्म हो रहा है, लेकिन भारत ने इस बात का ऐलान किया है कि अब यह विवाद खत्म हो रहा है और जल्द ही दोनों देशों की सेनाएं वहां से हट जाएंगी। निशांत,
गौरव, आप जो बता रहे हैं बहुत रोचक बात है। एक बार फिर से हमारे दर्शकों को पूरी खबर शुरू से लेकर अभी तक बताएं। प्रधानमंत्री का दौरा कब है, उससे पहले एक बहुत बड़ा ये ऐलान है, एक एक चीज समझाएं।
2 सितंबर को प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी चीन जाएंगे। चीन में ब्रिक्स की समिट है। ब्राजील, रशिया, इंडिया, चाइना, साउथ अफ्रीका, 5 देशों का यह समूह है जिसमें भारत और चीन दोनों की बहुत अहम भूमिका है। ऐसी परिस्थिति में अगर डोकलाम का यह विवाद चलता रहता तो भारत और चीन दोनों के लिए यह स्थिति बहुत गंभीर हो जाती, क्योंकि चीन और भारत दोनों ही नहीं चाहते कि इतने बड़े अंतर्राष्ट्रीय पटल पर इस विवाद के साथ दोनों जाते। निशांत, आप जानते हैं यह विवाद जब भारत एससीओ समिट के लिए अस्ताना भारत और चीन थे, वहां पर यह विवाद धीरे धीरे शुरू हो रहा था। वहां प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने बहुत साफ तौर पर चीन के राष्ट्रपति शी जिनपिंग को कहा था कि दोनों देशों के बीच जो डिस्प्यूट, जो मतभेद है वो मनभेद ना बन जाए, जो परसेप्शन डिफरेंस है वो डिस्प्यूट ना बन जाए, और इसीलिए डिफरेंसेस शुड नॉट बिकम डिस्प्यूट, प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा था। अब ब्रिक्स समिट से पहले भारत ने ऐलान किया है कि ये जो समिट के से पहले, ब्रिक्स समिट से पहले जो विवाद बहुत बड़ा हो गया था, अब आसार ये है कि ये खत्म हो जाएगा।
मैं एक चीज आपसे समझना चाह रहा हूं, ये हम अभी जिस पोजीशन पर है वो स्ट्रेटेजिक पोजीशन है। इसमें दोनों सेनाएं विड्रॉ होती हैं तो चीन की थूथू ज्यादा होगी, क्योंकि चीन ने ये एकदम ईगो इशू बना रखा था और गलती चीन की थी। लेकिन हमें नहीं भूलना चाहिए कि पंडित नेहरू के समय नारा दिया हिंदी चीनी भाई भाई और हो गया 62 का युद्ध। इसको लेकर भारतीय कूटनीति और भारतीय फौज कितनी तैयार है?
निशान, जैसा रक्षा मंत्री अरुण जेटली ने आज तक के कार्यक्रम में ही कहा था कि 1962 की स्थिति 2017 में नहीं है, यह भारत भी जानता है और चीन भी जानता है। एक बात जो आमतौर से हम भारतवासी कम ही जानते हैं कि 1960 में भारतीय सेना ने आगाह किया था कि अगर भारत तैयार नहीं होता तो वर्ष 2 वर्ष में चीन हमला कर सकता है। यह बात पंडित नेहरू या उस समय के रक्षा मंत्री ने देश भर में यह बात उजागर नहीं की थी, या पंडित नेहरू को इसके बारे में जानकारी नहीं थी। लेकिन अब देश को पूरी जानकारी है किस तरह से हमारी तैयारी है, किस तरह से चीन की तैयारी है, और 62 में जो चीन ने छुरा भोंका था भारत की पीठ में वो दोबारा नहीं भोंक पाएगा, ऐसा भारत का विश्वास भी है और कुछ तैयारी भी है। तो डोकलाम में जो अभी एक विवाद है, इसमें भारत को का मानना है कि अगर दोनों देशों की सेनाएं ये नहीं कि दोनों एक ही साथ हट जाएं। अब भारत के करीब 300 सिपाही वहां हैं, चीन के करीब 450 सिपाही वहां हैं, ऐसा सूत्र हमारे बता रहे हैं। कहा यह जा रहा है कि दोनों देश धीरे धीरे करके अपनी संख्या को पहले कम करेंगे और फिर हटा लेंगे।
Tonight we decode the end of the standoff at Doklam, in which both sides, India and China, have claimed a win. Now, to try and make a sense of who is quote-unquote won the standoff means going back a little bit to how it began about 3 months ago. In this plateau, in the Doklam area of the Himalayas, at the tri-junction of the borders of India, China and Bhutan, when China began building a road which India perceived as a threat, since it may make it easier for China to cut off access to India's northeast. Now, India moved troops into the region to halt that road construction. China mounted a major and unusually aggressive PR offensive, even releasing pictures of what it claims shows Indian troops in Chinese territory, and also warning that conflict was a possibility if India didn't withdraw. India, however, kept its cool, saying that the conflict can be resolved through dialogue. Now, just days before the Prime Minister leaves for Beijing for the BRICS summit, both sides appear to have reached an agreement, but not quite in sync with each other as far as the language is concerned. India says that in recent weeks, India and China have maintained diplomatic communication in respect of the incident at Doklam. During these communications, we were able to express our views and convey our concerns. On this basis, expeditious disengagement of border personnel at the face-off site in Doklam has been agreed to and is ongoing. The statement didn't specify but suggested that the scaling back of troops was mutual. But then in a fresh statement, India specified that it was referring to the border personnel of India and China and that the withdrawal was almost complete. China, however, put out a different statement suggesting only Indian troops have withdrawn from Doklam. Its spokesperson said China has confirmed that Indian troops and equipment have all withdrawn to the Indian side of the border area in Doklam on Monday afternoon. China will continue to exercise its territorial sovereignty in accordance with historic conventions, and that Chinese frontier defense forces continues to patrol in the Doklam area. The situation at the spot has changed, and China will adjust and deploy according to the current situation. Now, the foreign press, like the Washington Post, for instance, said that from this it was unclear if Beijing had offered any concessions in return, such as agreeing to halt the construction of the road. China said it will only redeploy its forces according to the changing situation, but would continue to patrol the area. Manish Tiwari, you and other Congress leaders have been tweeting more skeptical views on what exactly has gone down in Doklam. Why is that?
Well, Srinivasan, I say this with profound regret. It's unfortunate, and I say it with a lot of regret, but it is very clear that we have blinked. I think it is going to send out very wrong signals across the region with regard to the ability of this government to stay the course and actually stare the Chinese in their eye when the entire region is seeming to be bowing to the Chinese wind.
I'm sorry that even the Chinese haven't said that.
Mitra, you want to come in?
Chinese have not said that. And Manish Tiwari is saying more. Yeah, I just want to contradict Mr. Manish Tiwari. Even the Chinese haven't claimed what he is claiming. So either he has some information from the Chinese side which we don't have about unilateral withdrawal. Otherwise, neither China nor India have talked about unilateral withdrawal. Suppose India doesn't want to mention it. But the Chinese would have been jumping with joy that they've got India to withdraw. But they haven't said that.
Manish Tiwari, you know, the Indian statement says expeditious disengagement of border personnel, which the Chinese have not contradicted. So, how do you see this as India blinking unilaterally?
Srinivasan, may I come back very quickly on that?
Yes, do.
May I come back very quickly on that? The Indian statement does not mention the word mutual withdrawal. It says expeditious withdrawal. And if you read para 2 in juxtaposition with para 1, it says that we've had the ability to engage with the Chinese. We have expressed our concerns and our point of view.
Yes.
And in light of that, there will be expeditious disengagement. It does not use the word mutual disengagement. And then you read it in juxtaposition with what the Chinese are saying. The Chinese are saying that the Indian troops withdrew at 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon. You know, our people will verify the withdrawal, and after verifying the withdrawal, we'll continue to exercise sovereignty on that area, and we'll continue to patrol the Doklam region.
Doklam section of the China-India border. China said Monday it had made on-site checks of India's withdrawal of personnel and equipment from Doklam, also known as Doklam, after over 2 months of military standoff. On June the 18th, hundreds of armed Indian troops with 2 bulldozers crossed the boundary into Doklam, China's territory, to obstruct Chinese infrastructure construction. The standoff was followed by another skirmish in mid-August along the line of actual control near the Pangong Lake in the western part of the China-India boundary. Now that the standoff in Doklam has ended, some questions still remain. China and India are 2 nations with great history. Also, both are nuclear-armed countries. Together, we have a combined population of 2.7 billion. 2 rising countries get along in the future while they grow in confidence and reach. I'm pleased to be joined in the studio by Vishnu Sharma, New Delhi TV's defense editor and principal anchor, and Yo Dong Xiao, Associate Professor at the International College of Defense Studies, the National Defense University of China. But before we start the discussion, let's first take a listen to what Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Hua Chunying said earlier today during a routine press conference.
8月28日下午14点30分许。
At 14:30 August 28th, India pulled back its troops and equipment to the Indian side of the border. Chinese personnel there have confirmed this. China will continue to exert its sovereign rights according to historical boundary treaties. We hope India will abide by historical conventions and basic principles in international law and maintain the peace and tranquility in the border region together with China on the basis of respecting each other's sovereignty to boost the development of bilateral ties.
So a piece of goodness at the right moment. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Vishnu, first of all, welcome to China.
Thank you.
Yes, and NDTV actually is one of the first TV stations to break this news. How important is this for your TV organization?
No, it's very important, I think, not just for my TV organization, but for people in India and people in China. June is when the standoff started. The standoff has ended. I think it's important that India and China bring their relations on an even keel. As speaking for my organization, it's been a lead story for a very long time, and it'll certainly be the lead story at the moment, also tomorrow, but for once, for all the good reasons, that it's over. It's done with. We do not need standoffs between 2 nuclear-armed neighbors, and hopefully going forward, we won't have situations like this again.
I know it's a bit early, we're just hours away from when the news broke, but so far from the information you already got, how have the Indian public been reacting to this?
I think the Indian public would certainly look at this as a very positive development, a development which marks the accumulation of obviously successful diplomacy. As you know, diplomacy requires 2 or more partners to work in unison towards a common goal. In this particular instance, China and India appear to have done that quite successfully. If you ask me personally, I saw the Doklam crisis going on potentially for several years. But the fact of the matter is it has ended within a period of months, and that's very welcome news, and I'm sure that would be very well received politically and certainly among people in the country.
Professor Yu, what is the Chinese version, the Chinese reaction from you and your colleagues in the national defense community? How have you been receiving this piece of story?
I think it's definitely a good news. Finally, this tension has de-escalated, and the standoff ended through peaceful means and through the efforts of diplomats, not military officers. I think it's a very good, positive tendency. So I think my colleagues are very happy to see this 2 months long military standoff in Doklam area finally peacefully over.
What could we learn from this episode? I mean, there are obviously various reasons from the Indian side, for instance, Vishnu. What do you think can be drawn from this experience for the Indian side?
Well, for starters, India has got certain red lines. China obviously has certain concerns and red lines as well. We need to understand that the line of actual control, the boundary, as it were, between India and China has not been defined. And therefore, we need to respect each other's red lines. By and large, there is a mechanism in place. That mechanism ensures that there is a peaceful situation. This is an aberration, this particular situation in Doklam, just because of the geography in that particular region. China has concerns about India's infrastructure development. India has concerns about China's infrastructure development in this particular, along the line of actual control and the boundary between the two countries. The reason Doklam became a particular problem was because of Doklam was very, very close to a part of India which we call the Chicken's Neck, an area that connects India with our northeastern states. It's a very narrow sliver of land between Bangladesh to the south and China to the north in the Yadung Valley. By making roads in this particular area, India felt threatened. But India is not in denial of the fact that China has claims in this area. India understands it's a bilateral issue between Bhutan and China at one level. But obviously when it comes to a tri-junction area, if there is a move in constructing roads which changes the way or the area where the tri-junction is located, then because it's tri, there are three countries, there's India, there's China, and there's Bhutan, which is why we were concerned in this particular case.
Professor Yeo, do you agree with what Vishnu, the part where this area is under dispute between China and India? What is the Chinese version?
Actually, the problem is that why China, especially China's ambassador to India, described this standoff as the most serious standoff between our two countries in the past 30 years. Actually, China and India, we have a 2,000 kilometers long common border, and we have such kind of standoff or kind of a conflict is not new. But this time, why is we describe the most serious? Because this sector, the Sea King sector on the Chinese-Indian border, is a delimited border between our two countries, not like other part of a section of border which has not been delimited. So there we have only, just as Vishnu mentioned, there's a line of actual control. But this part of sector,
the line of actual control is in other parts
in
of
the other
borders
part of it, so we're not finally delimited. But this time, this area is actually delimited already through 1980 border
agreement
between Great Britain and China's Qing dynasty. So we have the agreement here, and also the Doklam area or Doklam is Chinese territory, and this. Since the ancient times. So even India admit this is not India's territory. It's not Indian territory.
But India has not claimed it as
Indian territory. It's you claim it's Bhutan's territory. Anyhow, it's not Indian territory. But you send your troops there. Of course, we understand there's you have the security concern over the area. But the actually is quite strange for a country say I have a security concern in the other country's territory, then I can send troops there. And also you mentioned the tri-junction area. Actually, to my knowledge, there's an agreement between China and India over the tri-junction area. That is, if China and Bhutan have finalized the agreement over the border between China and Bhutan, then China, India, Bhutan, with three countries consider the tri-junction points. Point. Then this is very natural. But so we cannot say that India say that it's a tri-junction area, and we have the entry there. So I come into this area. So that's why China cannot accept India's execution. And we think that if you say that there's an infrastructure in this area have some security concern over impact on India, but actually you know that India bought a lot of defense works, military works on the Indian side of the. So actually, they have more security concerns on Chinese side. If that excuse is works hold water, China have more excuse go into Indian territory to stop your work there. So I think that's why China cannot say that the only solution for this Donglang or Doklam standoff is that India withdraw its troops back to Indian side.
Okay.
So,
while I don't speak for the government of India, I certainly should give you the other perspective as well, while also making the point that what we have seen today actually goes beyond these differences. The differences in interpretation do exist, and each point that the professor raised is countered. And I shall elaborate those points, but we're looking at history. We move forward, and that's welcome news. Firstly, he refers to the 1890 agreement, which was reached between Tibet on the one hand and the British who were in India at that stage. India doesn't refer to that agreement. We refer to the 1993 agreement on the maintenance of peace and tranquility on the border. And that agreement says that no unilateral change on the boundary on the ground between China and India and between China and Bhutan should take place. Now, India's interpretation of this particular area is that the presence of Chinese bulldozers and a road construction party in that particular area was an attempt by China to actually alter the definition of the tri-junction in this very contentious area. And therefore, India moved into an area which India does not say is ours, only because the tri-junction, which is an area which obviously involves was being challenged, was being threatened. Now, China disagrees with that, and as the professor said, China has said that we have entered into another country, a third country as it were, which is Bhutan. I should also mention that Bhutan itself, the other point that the professor mentioned is of that Sikkim area being delimited, or in other words, broadly defined. India doesn't say that that area is defined at all. India's premise for whatever action it has taken in that area is premised on the fact that it is not delimited Sikkim. It's not been clearly defined.
To our knowledge, to my knowledge, let me interrupt you here. The Indian government has actually on various occasions in written form acknowledged that the Sikkim section of the Chinese-Indian border have been, there is no dispute. The latest I understand is the 2006 Indian government statement. So I don't know from where you can draw the conclusion that this part of the border has, has already been.
There is no dispute per se, but it's not been delimited officially. At least not in the manner in which you can call it an effective border or an effective boundary between the two countries. That's India's position as far as.
Okay. First, as you mentioned that there's the China's building road in Doklam area change the status quo. Actually, I don't agree with that because Doklam area is under China's administration, effective administration for many years. PLA of troops control this area. They always patrol in this area. The building on road is just to make their work easier and also for the easy transportation in the area. And also the Bhutan herdsmen, when they have the sheep, cattle in this area, pay the tax to the local government, to the Tibetan government, to the Chinese government. They have the archives kept record there. So it's not building road change the status. Actually, the status quo is that the areas under China's effective control, the building of road only makes the transportation easier for the local people. And also, the 1899 treaty, we know that the Indian side have different interpretation, but actually from the official letters from your previous prime minister and also your government to Chinese government, they confirm that this treaty already delimited the border between Sikkim state of India and the China's Tibetan autonomous region. So we have the official letters and also the official records from your government to say that border already delimited clearly. There's no dispute.
Okay.
And also, please, one point that you say, I see that you have entered the third country's territory, Bhutan. No, I see that you enter Chinese territory. They claim that is Bhutan territory.
No, look, let's not get negative on a day in which there has been so much progress that has been made. But the fact of the matter is that there is a dispute between Bhutan and China on this particular area. India's strategic concerns necessitated a particular move in this area. And in as much as you do mention the 1890 agreement, I would once again suggest that there is the 1993 agreement, which has also been signed between India and China, and India obviously has a different definition. But this is the past, okay? This has happened and we have moved forward.
Yeah, it's
and
great
I think
news.
It's important that we need to discuss what we can do to ensure that this sort of thing doesn't happen.
Absolutely. That's
because
why
the positions of the two countries in terms of the law and in terms of the interpretation haven't changed. What has changed is the de-escalation. China has moved back, India has moved back completely. And India is fully aware of the fact that
China does not say that it has moved back. We are on our own territory. But it's true that the two sides have disengaged, the Indian troops withdrawn, the two sides have disengaged, the situation are de-escalating. That is the important part. I think let's not grapple on these details.
No, but that
and
last point, Liu, is important. And I don't want to belabor the point or
I
argue
really
with
have
you.
to. Can we go into a real short break, and we'll be back right after that.
Okay.
And you have been watching The Point with me, Liu Xin. We'll take a short break and we'll be back right after that. Discussion with Vishnu Shom from NDTV and Professor Yo Dongxiao from the National Defense University of China. Indeed, you know what, if we are going to continue discussing these details, we will not have enough time. We have 12 minutes left. Why don't we look into the future? I mean, right now, I think the collective or the common will of the both countries is let's not be blocked by this border issue and move forward to the greater issue, which is BRICS cooperation, where China and India are very important players. Vishnu, again to you, in terms of, since you're a defense editor, in terms of defense and security, maybe an anti-terrorism, where do you see the potential of China and India cooperating better in the future?
Well, India and China clearly need to cooperate a lot better when it comes to that. We have exercises between our soldiers in the past where, for example, they've worked together to try and deal with potential anti-terrorist scenarios. But India has a fundamental issue with China when it comes to Pakistan and the fact that China won't designate Masood Azhar and Hafiz Saeed as international terrorists. This remains a critical concern as far as India is concerned when it comes to the issue of terrorism. Obviously, terrorism is an international scourge. Terrorism is a problem that China faces, India faces, so many countries around the world face. But there needs to be, India believes, a consistent strategy as far as China is concerned when it deals with the issue of terrorists. We face a daily threat from terrorists in our country. It's an unfortunate reality. But a large part of that threat, in fact almost all of it, comes from one of China's closest partners, Pakistan. That represents a challenge to India.
Professor Yo, first of all, explain to us what kind of cooperation have taken place between China and India in terms of security, in terms of fighting terrorism, and then maybe you can address some of the points that Vishnu mentioned.
Actually, I agreed with you and also Vishnu on the point that it's not good for us to quarrel over those details because it's very natural. We have different national interests. Exactly. National territorial integrity and sovereignty, actually, for any country, we have no room for concession. Everyone will protect that. Of course, we also have different interpretation over many issues. The international treaties in the history, the interpretation of the past. So if we quarrel here, maybe we debate several hours. There's maybe no winner or no result. So we should look forward.
Yeah.
Look forward. We are two great nations. Not only in Asia, but also in the world. Two longest civilizations in the world. The most populous country in the world. So we have every reason to cooperate, to promote our bilateral cooperation. There are many fields potential cooperation between our two countries in the field.
For example,
in the defense sector, to my knowledge, just as Vishnu have mentioned that the terrorism is the common threat not only to China, to India, is actually the common threat to the international community. China and the India military have the cooperation on the counterterrorism. We have the joint drill training. And also, I am from the International College of Defense Studies. We have the international office every year. We have more than around 500 international officers from more than 100 countries, including India. So we have the Indian officers. They are actually high quality military officers, and we have joint discussions over many issues. So these all are the potential area between China and India in the military sectors, in the military fields.
Yes, but again, I would also like you to address the issue that Vishnu pointed, especially the designation of, for instance, Azhar as a terrorist under UN consensus, let's say, because I've heard many Indian journalists or scholars mention this point that China is somehow reluctant to put the person that India, or two of the people that India considers terrorists, but China refused to agree to designate them as a UN designated terrorists. What is your understanding on such issues? China's attitude on terrorism, basically.
Actually, China opposes the terrorism in any form and anywhere, no matter against whom. We have one standard, not like some countries, they have double standards. Say, if in their interest they are not terrorism, but against their interest they are terrorism. But for China, we have one standard. We oppose the terrorism in any form. So China, for the particular terrorist organization or person, I'm not very sure. But we think that China and India have the common interest to fight against terrorism, not only in the South Asia. We think the peace and the stable security environment in the South Asia is not only conducive or in the interest of the countries in the region, but also in the interest of China, because South Asia is a very important part of China's Belt Road Initiative. So we hope that we can have very good cooperation with the countries in South Asia, including India. Of course, we have cooperation with other countries. So terrorism definitely the threats to the regional security and stability. So China firmly opposes the terrorism in any form.
Vishnu, let me put this question to you. I've read quite some media reports from India, and my impression that India seems to be seeing China as a threat, you know, in a security sense. India is teaming up.
Threat or rival? I mean, again, it's a matter of words.
Rival, understandably, but threat is the feeling I'm getting. For instance, India is teaming up with Japanese and American navies to do, you know, very large-scale military exercises, and
I've covered a lot of those. Yeah.
Yes, and also supposedly selling missiles to Vietnam, also, which is not happening. Okay, that's good news.
That's been denied.
But what we have observed is a growing trend for India to aligning itself with the United States to strategically contain China. Yeah. And China, Professor Yu, I would say China has a problem with that. Is that true? What is the Indian rationale behind it?
I think that's a very important question, and I think that reflects the larger set of concerns. India sees China establishing its presence militarily in several areas where India has concerns. And China, of course, has concerns with India, and, for example, allying very closely with countries like the United States, which oppose China's in the South China Seas. So it's two strong countries with two well-defined set of regional and international strategic concerns, which have views which won't work together. For example, China continues to arm Pakistan. Pakistan will be receiving Chinese submarines. China has built a very large military base, a naval base in Djibouti. China deploys nuclear submarines in the Indian Ocean.
It's not a military base, it's a logistic support base,
It's a logistics support, fair enough. It's a logistics support base, which is logistics and support for naval vessels. So India sees this as a challenge. On the other hand, China obviously has concerns
Let's not
with India
forget,
as well.
India already has a military base in Djibouti before China established.
India doesn't have any military base in Djibouti.
No?
No.
Okay, maybe my information is wrong,
India
but that
does not have any military base in Djibouti.
Okay, but India...
the Indian Ocean, for right or for wrong, the point that I'm trying to make is India's area of interest. The South China Seas is obviously China's area of interest. You don't see Indian warships or an Indian effort at seeking parcels of land in the South China Seas. We do deploy our ships over there, but that's to visit countries like China or our partners like the United States. Or Japan for that matter, or Vietnam. But we don't send nuclear submarines in over there. We don't send large flotillas several times a year. So I think the bottom line is this: there are differences. Let's learn to work and live with our differences. Like we have done with Doklam, where both sides got together, the diplomats sat down on a table, resolved a particular heated issue. We need to be able to do that with all issues.
Professor Yeo, how do we build trust, rebuild trust maybe, and confidence between the two countries, especially the two militaries?
Just now I have mentioned that actually our two countries have every reason to develop a very good close cooperation with the other. But the main problem is that there lack of mutual trust among us. As you mentioned that, as you know, China has a quite close cooperation with Pakistan, and maybe Sri Lanka and some other countries in the South Asia, but India has a strong suspicions for China's intention there. And also, in recent years, India developed its military cooperations with the United States, Japan, and so we also have a strong doubt what's the real motivation, because India is always regarded as the leader of the non-alignment movement.
Yes.
So it means that India will change its policies and also to form a kind of anti-China alliance encircle China. So in China, we also have some suspicions and doubts there. And also, but another very important point I want to mention here, I think basically there's maybe some Chinese have some bad image of India, but there's still a lot of Chinese people have very good feeling towards the Indian people, and also never see India as a threat. But unfortunately, many Indian politicians and senior military officers openly say China is the #1 threat. But we have to leave it there.